Good evening. You might be wondering what I'm doing up here, and to answer that question is that this fall, some of the older guys in the youth group will start sharing devotional thoughts from time to time. Some might ask why I'm starting first. Well, I'm still trying to figure that one out. But in all seriousness, I'm pretty sure that the other guys are also honored to start doing this to become better speakers. With all that aside, the word for tonight in the one word book is the word confess. The word confess can mean different things. More of a worldly example is to admit something typically because one feels ashamed or embarrassed. When I think of this definition, I think of someone making a mistake that you would make, whether in the past or present, and owning up for what you did. One time when I was 13 years old, I was at my grandparents' house. At this particular time, it was just my grandma and me in the house. Well, I went downstairs to watch TV. I saw the basement freezer. Some might know what happens next after that. I was just curious to see what was in there. It was pretty much just a whole grocery store in a cold box. I happened to catch a container of ice cream from the corner of my eye. Then I snuck upstairs to get a spoon somewhere, and I put the ice cream, and then I ate over half that container of the brand new ice cream. So I hid the spoon somewhere, and I put the ice cream back. I could have gone my entire life saying that it was never me who ate the ice cream. But being that this story has been told 50 times, and people in my family have come to the conclusion it's something that I would have done, I finally came around, and I said I did it. I confessed. Even though this was more of a comical example, there are more serious examples of confessing something that you might start and end up with a worse situation and solution. Of course, there's never confessing something. You think that never confessing something might get you out of the hole in front of people. And well, it kind of does at first. But in reality, it digs the hole deeper and deeper with your relationship with God. Matthew 10:33 says, "Whoever denies me before men, I will also deny my Father who is in heaven." If we don't confess on the things we did, it's just lying. The last thing that you'd ever want to do is lie. We're reminded of what happens to liars in Revelation 21:8. Kids and adults know that there's a little song about it, but do we really pay attention to what those words mean? When it comes to this type of confession, we know that God forgives us. 1 John 1:9 says, "If we confess our sins, he is faithful, and he'll forgive us for our sins and purify us from all unrighteousness." Of course, to wrap this up, the most important confession that you can make is confessing that Jesus is the Son of God. 1 John 4:15 says, "Whoever confesses that Jesus is the Son of God, God abides in him, and he in God." Luke 12:8 says, "And I say to you, everyone who confesses me before men, the Son of Man will confess him before the angels of God." Confession is the fourth step to becoming a Christian. On November 1st, 2010, I made the decision to obey the gospel. My papa told me something that I'll never forget, and now I can tell you that being baptized is hands down the most important decision that you could ever make. Some have not made that decision, and I'm here to tell you that that statement is 100% true. There is no other decision that comes before your Christian walk with God. And there is no one that God would rather see in heaven than the other, because we are still God's children. For those who have already obeyed the gospel, we all sin. Romans 3:23 through 24 says, "For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God." But unfortunately, when our life is over, we don't get a second chance. We're not by any means perfect, but we are told to be imitators of Christ, according to Ephesians 5:1. One day, when your life is over, when you want to know that you left this earth being a Christian, and now you're with God for all eternity, think about it while together as we stand and sing.